writers, it's Monday. This week's theme is to write something based on a song. I really didn't want to do this because I'm lazy, but I wrote this thing that I haven't titled yet because I just now wrote it, based off of the Ballad of Love and Hate by the Avett Brothers. I'll put a link to that song down in the place where the links go. This is kind of like the conversation that led up to that song happening, I guess. And it's kind of sad. I'm sorry. I write sad things. It's just a thing that happens. So yeah, this is, I guess, just the Ballad of Love and Hate. He stood in front of the sink, washing up his breakfast dishes. It was still early in the morning, but he was always up early, even on weekends. Something was wrong with her. It was all he could think about. He didn't know what it was exactly, but he feared for the taut line that held them together. He feared it might snap. He heard noise behind him, the sound of wheels across hardwood floor. He froze and tensed up. He could hear her high heels clicking across the floor behind him. The smell of cinnamon filled his lungs as she came closer. He kept his back to her. He couldn't bear to see her face. He felt her hand between his shoulder blades and flinched away. She sighed. "Please just listen to me," she said quietly. He dropped the plate in his hand and clenched his fists. What the hell is going on? Her hand was shaking on his back. I just need some space, I think. So you're leaving. He'd worked for years to hide his emotions, but he heard his voice crack and cursed himself inwardly. Just for a while, she said quickly. A few weeks. I'll be back before you've even had a chance to miss me. He whirled around. Before I have the chance to miss you? His voice was clearly shaking now, and he was on the verge of yelling. He took a deep breath to calm himself. Love, I've been missing you for weeks already. Where the hell have you been? It's like you're not even here with me anymore. You're somewhere else entirely, somewhere I can't follow. Do I even... Sorry, wow. Do I even matter to you anymore? Her eyes were wide, her hands still out where his back had been. I've just needed some space, just a little time to myself, she whispered. And you couldn't tell me this? You know I'd leave you alone forever if you asked. Tears welled up in her eyes. He felt a stab of regret at his words, but regret was pushed away by anger. That was always how it was with him. His anger made everything else impossible, even being with her. I'm not asking for forever, she said, her voice catching. I just need a few weeks. Some time to breathe. I love you, more than anything. You know that. But sometimes what? He demanded. Sometimes you can just be a bit much, okay? She was yelling now and nearly sobbing. I can't always be taking care of you. I need to take care of myself, too. He stared at her, realizing, am I not taking care of you? Her sad eyes looked at him. With a surge of hatred at himself, he turned back around, gripping the edge of the sink. Hey, she said, putting her hand on his shoulder. He shook her off. Go, he said. You deserve a break. I'm sorry, just go. Enjoy your vacation, but please, please come back to me. Her hand came off his shoulder, and he flinched. I love you, she said softly. He let out a short, humorless laugh. You love everyone, he said. It's kind of your thing. She reached around and kissed him on the cheek. But I love you the most. He stayed frozen, facing the sink, until he heard her sigh and walk out. He listened as she rolled her suitcase out the door. When he heard the door click shut, he collapsed and put his face in his hands. A sob that he'd been holding back finally escaped. I'm nothing without you. Yay! That probably just put a damper on your morning. So yeah, that was a thing. I don't know how to end videos. Thomas, I'll see you tomorrow.